You're a property owner and you're thinking about putting your property up for sale, whether it's through agent or for sale by owner. I have a strategy I'd like to introduce you to that just might blow your mind. Hi, my name is Josh. I'm founder and president of the Mutual Land Contract Company, where we buy and sell property on installments. So, land contracts are our bread and butter. That's what we do here. So, I want to show you how we do it in house and what makes our installment sales different than regular land contracts. Um, First thing you should do is something you should do anyway, whether you're selling the property or not. Put your property in a trust. Put your property in a land trust, and once you put your property in a land trust, you'll be the grantor and the beneficiary, and then you pick a trustee, and that you start the you create the trust, and once you create the trust, you put your property into the trust with a deed. So you create a trustee's deed, and you deed the trust, or you deed the property to the trustee. Now, once the trust owns the deed, the trust creates the land contract. The trust will be the vendor of the land contract, and the buyer will be the purchaser, of course. So now, once the purchaser come along, and the beautiful part about this is, when you put your terms out there, you don't have to deal with negotiators coming to you with their idea of how to buy your property. You don't have to deal with the letter of intent with crazy terms. You don't have to deal with the purchase and sale agreement. It's already set up because you're in the driver's seat as the seller. You own the land contract, you own the trust, and you own the deed. So now the buyer is coming along to buy your package of ownership through a land contract. And once they go to the closing table with your terms on the land contract, you will assign beneficial interest of the trust to the buyer. Now the buyer will have beneficial onus of the trust, which means the buyer will now be responsible for things like insurance and taxes, and of course, bills. Now, once the assignment is done, the buyer can go to record the land trust in the land contract, which in effect, the land contract is the mortgage. You put the lien on the property with the land contract. Now, the trust is owned by the trustee, so the deed is in the trustee's name, and now you, the owner, are recording this so that it's known that the trustee is the owner of the deed now. And all of this goes down to City Hall. Now, the sexy part about all of this is you, the owner, still control this whole uh, package of ownership of this whole agreement. So, if something should go wrong, or not even something go wrong, you got a 5-year or 10-year balloon. You want to get out of the balloon. You can sell your contract, the note, for a value. There's value in your land contract, so you can sell the note if you want to get out of it. If you're done after 5 or 10 years, you can actually sell the land contract to a note buyer, and the note buyer will give a valuable note at about 95 cents on the dollar. And the note that's held in a trust that's untainted by outside interference will hold a lot of value to a note buyer. So you're looking at, if you want to get out of the deal, assign your note and get 95 cents on the dollar is probably what you're looking at. But if you stay in the deal, you can still stay in the deal either way and get your balloon. Once the buyer finalizes that last payment, the trustee will release the deed in a special warranty deed. The buyer will get a special warranty deed from the trustee. Then the buyer will also get a bill of sale. So that will be how we will close the deal. The beautiful part about it is there's minimum closing costs. The trust costs nothing to create, and the seller, you win-win because you even have an option to defer your capital gains by splitting up your payments, accordingly. So let's dive into a quick little diagram about what this looks like. All right. So you have a seller and a buyer, right? I'll try to make this real quick. The seller puts the title in the trust, or the seller owns the title, so they create the trust. They deed the property into the trust. Seller puts the trust on the insurance of the property. Now that the trust have the deed, the trust will put the deed up for sale in the land contract. The land contract will be bought and bound by the buyer. The buyer will be paying on the land contract. And once the buyer go to closing, the seller will assign beneficial interest to the buyer. Because all taxes flow through from the trustee to the beneficiary, the buyer will be paying for the taxes. And because the trust is on the insurance, the buyer will also be held liable for the insurance. So this is how this all works together. And the whole time, you, the seller, are in control of this whole deal until the buyer make that last payment and you authorize the trustee to release the special warranty deed. As far as deferring your capital gains, if the property is 300,000 and your basis is 150,000, your gains is 150,000. Now, this gains could be split up in monthly, yearly, however you want. And this 150 could be your down payment. So this could get you to your next house. Maybe you're moving into a new house. You need that 150 for the down payment. This could be your down payment. You receive a monthly flow off of that 150, and because of the new established, or excuse me, excess business loss, or the EBL rule of the 2017 tax release, if you're married or you're single, you can offset your yearly income by $250 or $500,000 if you're married through excess business losses. So you can offset that $150,000 next to your $250,000 allowance if you know how to do that. So that's one way to look at it. You can continue to receive this payments on this and defer your taxes, and at the same time you'll receive a nice payment over time. So this is a real sexy way to sell your property. If you want to print your own money and you want to defer your capital gains, and you don't want to wait on banks to qualify a buyer, or you don't want to wait for a passionate buyer to come along and buy your property, think about selling your property on the land contract while it's held in a trust, and it's a very sexy way to sell real estate in the age of Dodd-Frank. If you want to learn a little bit, if you want to learn more, click on the link and we could dive into it.